I'm E, class of 2021.
I'm Jamar, double R, class of 2012.
And I'm Gigi, class of 2017.
And this is Beyond the Degree, the Recent Grad Council podcast. So today we're going to be talking about things our degrees did not prepare us for. It's a long list. We could be talking about a lot of things. What comes to mind when y'all hear our topic for today?
One thing that comes to mind is how they want you to have years of experience. But how? When I'm just coming out of school. How? Tell me how.
Ow!
So what does that look like? How, like interviewing, how can you sell yourself knowing that you just got out of college?
You know what? I don't think there's one answer to that. But I think there is, a certain type of approach. And as you sell yourself, there's a great deal of persuasion in sales. And I think your job is to get those folks to believe you. And I think one way to get people's attention is through storytelling. I think while, folks are still in school, you want to gather as many stories as possible so that you can convey that to the evaluation team so that they can have confidence in you, right? You don't have experience, but do you have the ability to do this job?
Wow.
Do you have the ability to learn this task?
Absolutely. And I think all those stories and experiences, all those add up to your career narrative. That's the story that you need to be sharing with people on your LinkedIn page, in your resume, in your cover letter, and deliver that in your interview. So those transferable skills, all those experiences, craft your career narrative, do the work to put in and get those experiences, even if you don't have the years of experience they're asking for those entry-level jobs.
One thing I learned, you said cover letters. So one thing that I recently learned, which is so crazy because if I had known this years ago, I think it would have been so beneficial. And it may be an obvious thing, just maybe a me thing, but with your cover letter, you're writing it. However, choosing like 2 to 3 bolded points that you want to address that comes also from like the interview description. And then having that under that describing how you like your experience with it. And so for me, that's really important because a lot of times like businesses look at or organizations look at your cover letter. That's the first thing. And it's a yes or a no. So I'll use myself as an example. Applying for a job, and one thing could be like engaging, collaborating with stakeholders. Okay, so that's the title. Now, how have I done that, or what experiences have I had that shows that I can do this? And so I think that that's really important to take those, like you guys said, experiences and really hone in on whether you've actually done it or not. Maybe you've had a part in experience it. Maybe you learned about it in school and you applied it in a classroom. That's still experience.
Absolutely.
That's beautiful. I think a great deal of preparation, like I guess when you get that interview, is very important, even down to the point of like research. And now that we have so many resources, especially with LinkedIn, I think this is a really good tip to research the company, research the employees, start asking questions for your interview panel to say, you know what, can you tell me by name who's going to be on this panel? I remember doing that on one of the interviews, and I got all names, and I started doing research on LinkedIn, and I went in there and I had little tidbits about everyone in there. I had the drop on everybody, and they were, how did you know? It's like, LinkedIn. But that was what gave me that competitive advantage because it showed that I was able to be intentional and do that research and kind of learn more about my potential coworkers.
That's good. And you're talking about coworkers. Now I'm thinking too, one thing that my 4 degrees didn't prepare me on is, what if I don't like my coworkers? It does not prepare you for difficult coworkers, difficult bosses, chaotic environments, toxic work situations. Like nothing prepares you for that. And for me, I've had my experiences of, I wouldn't say like like work, like people that I've worked with, but more so like bosses. And I mean, nothing prepares you for having to be under leadership of someone that really just does not care for you, not because they have a reason, but because that's just kind of their personality, and your personality is the opposite. So you guys clash a lot. Do you guys have any experiences or?
Yes. I remember coming into, and I'll let you go, E, in a few. But they can cut it out. It's not working, but I remember coming into an environment as the youngest and the most energetic, and I had an education background. I had some of the qualifications and certifications, and they were kind of mean to me. And I think it was a combination of reasons, because they weren't used to, I guess, a certain type of energy and my vibrancy, and I had to learn how to manage that. And it's beautiful because, during that time, I learned more about, dealing with people and trying to really understand, maybe it's not necessarily me, it's a them thing. And accepting that and learning how to manage that. And, actually we all ended up kind of like working well together during that time, but at first initially it wasn't very welcoming. And so I had to learn how to kind of add that people side of things. I think that's the one thing that we can lack when we go into this world is it's work, work, work. But at the end of the day, it's people. We're all people here, and we got to see that. You got to learn how to see the people.
That's so true. And I feel like I don't think I realized until I started working professionally how much time you actually spend with your coworkers when you're working a full-time job. And I think my experience is kind of a combo of y'all's. Mine was mostly with bosses as well, like under leadership, that for whatever reason there just wasn't a connection, or I just didn't feel that I was supported or really led. And I had the experience of pet to threat, which I hadn't experienced before.
What is that?
Which is where someone hires you, they think, oh my goodness, you're so amazing. They give you like lots of compliments. They want to support you, develop you, and then eventually you are seen as a threat to their position, and then it starts going real left. And I didn't know that was a thing. I read it on LinkedIn one day, and I was like, wow, that's what I experienced. And that was something I had never been prepared for, right? Coming into a job, expecting to have a great relationship with bosses or leadership, and then it not ending up that way. And when we think about the people part of what you said, how I survived that was realizing my boss wasn't the only person in the workplace, right? So I still had friends and colleagues. I still had friends and connections outside of work. And related to the career narrative we talked about earlier, everything you do at work is part of your career narrative. Keep your resume updated all the time, because you never know when you're going to be looking for an experience or an opportunity that might be a better fit for you.
That's good. I've definitely been a pet and a threat. I've never heard of that, but that's good. And
that's how I understood it from the LinkedIn post. I think that's what it was.
LinkedIn knows everything. It's accurate. And you're a doctor, so you know.
I know.
So like you were talking about, just updating and like, finding your people and support. And I think it's also important to advocate for yourself. Like advocating is so important. And I know. I did not know how to advocate for myself so long, because I felt like it was kind of rude and disrespectful, or like if I'm asking for something and you're not doing it, then I'm pushy or aggressive. Yes. However, you cannot not defend yourself, because you are the only person that is going to speak up for you and knows what you need. But then two, you can't dim your light because others don't want to see you to shine.
Amen. I might be speaking off the cuff a little bit, but you have to advocate for yourself, and unfortunately, in a lot of working relationships, it's more take than give. Unfortunately, we can be an employee number, an object, and we output. And we have to be mindful, because people will squeeze your juices if you let them, and they'll leave you high and dry. And so you have to learn how to advocate for yourself and asking yourself what that looks like and not being afraid to ask. Like someone said, ask not, receive not. Will you be willing to support my educational initiatives, right? Will there be reimbursements for these things? What does upward mobility look like? You have to ask those questions, and the more you ask them, I think you really start, gaining a position in the work field, because you think about those people there in leadership. I'm sure they did the same thing, you know.
And it's good too to know like who to ask, because I know for me, when I was pursuing my first master's, or my second master's, I'm sorry, and my
I know that's right.
She's smart. She's smart.
Get it, girl.
okay.
I love it.
Okay.
But however, I was the pet. My principal was so excited to bring me in, and I was like, she's like grooming me, and I'm following her, and she's so proud of me. However, when it came to shadow her to then get into administration, she was like, whoa, pump the brakes. No, like, we're not going to do this. And so, I had to stop and really think, okay, what can I do? How can I still get this? Because she really was adamant about not allowing me to get my hours through her. Now this is the dramatic switch. I left the school altogether and went to a new school.
Good for you.
But you have to think of, okay, if I can't get what I need to grow from this person or this thing, like there's the pivoting. Like how can I pivot?
There's the pivot.
Where's my power so that I can still get it?
Yeah. How to gain that leverage is really important. And it is about building your resume. It is also about going on those interviews, because sometimes you have to show your value. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, I'm about to leave. And they say leave. And then when you get ready to leave, it's a whole different situation. Like I'll tell a story, working for a place, I interviewed at another place, and I learned the art of countering. They didn't teach me this in school. But learning how to counter, to say, okay, this place has an offer here of this much salary. Here it is. What would you like to do? And so that was me advocating for myself, but even more, bringing this to my supervisor. My supervisor, great person, but she was kind of like brokering that deal between like the person who could actually make the decision. And I don't want to say unfortunately, but I had to advocate for myself, and I had to kind of move that middle person out and go straight to the source. And sometimes that rubs people the wrong way, but no one can advocate better than yourself than you. And so I had to do that, and through the grace of God, I was successful, But yeah, sometimes you got to overcome that feeling of pushiness, because they're going to be pushy people all the time. I don't think they're so worried about being pushy, and it's not eye for an eye or anything like that, but it's about having that context, Yeah.
Did the removing the middleman, did that create an awkward dynamic in the workplace for you?
It was an awkward moment, but I took the time to explain why I did it, and it was respected. But I had to, because there was so much, your salary, your livelihood is going on behind the scenes, and no, I need to be there. Really, I need to be there. Yeah. And any human being, I would hope, would understand that. And so, again, you have to get on that human level. So, yeah, we got through that, though.
And
but
I
it
think
was
that's a healthy work dynamic, to be able to say, it was an awkward moment. We worked through it.
Absolutely.
We moved, and they understood. That's good.
Absolutely.
If you guys could say, like, one thing that you feel like your degree did not prepare you for, and it's on the spot, what's one thing? For me, it would be balancing individualism, becoming a working woman, and then a family woman. Like that to me has been one of the most challenging, being able to divide that time, because I'm so like goal oriented focused that I never want to cut work off, but I never want I also want to pour into myself. But then I never want my family to feel like, they aren't my priority, my first ministry. So that's something that it's constantly a learning cycle for me.
Ooh. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. I think mine would be knowing when to leave a job.
Ooh.
I don't think my degree prepared me for knowing
Oh, that's good.
when my breaking point was or when I reached my threshold. Because I can endure, you know what I mean? Like I've been a student for a long time. I can get through the trials and get over the hurdles, but I don't think my degree prepared me for, okay, like this is enough.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like step away.
Right. Stop.
Find
Like,
something
stop.
else. This isn't healthy, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'd say that's probably
Yeah. And we're taught like once you get a job, like, oh, that's a good thing. But like, no, like my mental health is, my sanity, like feeling safe and protected is.
yes.
Yeah.
So in a way, like related to yours, like the balance of the rest of my life with a job,
Right.
knowing what my priorities are
Okay.
with being balanced and everything.
I would say, you know, VCU didn't offer a class for like managing workplace politics. And that's a big thing. Like there was a lot of things going on, you know, in the work environment behind the scenes just because of relationship.
Yeah.
Like learning how to really manage relationships and seeing, oh, well, now I kind of understand why this person is in this position. Yeah, they may have the skill, but they also have the relationship, you know? And I've also seen people who lack some of that skill, but they know how to manage that relationship and they have that energy and they know how to get that person who knows how to analyze and do A, B, and C and put that together and motivate those people. So managing those politics was something that my degree did not prepare me for. You know, I would like to say, as the kids say, I'm a bit jelly because I noticed that you guys are twinning. And
Twinsies.
I'm just the stepchild here. So I guess I missed the memo. But I just want to say that you guys look great. And
You're the pilot or just like the flight
oh,
attendant.
you got that? Oh man, you switched that up. My stewardess. This is your captain speaking.
Are we ready to land the plane?
Oh, nice.
Well, you know what? With that being said, thank y'all again for tuning in. Stay tuned for the next episodes, and we shall see you soon.